Okay, so then...
so now we need the ATIS.
So you did that already?
Nope, not yet. So it's, I'm sorry, actually it's AWOS here, Automated Weather Observation System. So I'll lean this out. If we go back up to the start checklist right here, that's actually where we need to finish up. So let's go back to the oil pressure.
Oil pressure's good.
And come on down.
The fuel pump, do we want to leave that on when we're...
No, not when we're taxiing. No, we want it off. Right before takeoff. Yep, right before takeoff.
So the fuel pressure is still good in the green.
Good.
Lights are there in the mixture.
Now the mixture, just bring it back to this hump right there. That just leans it out just enough to kind of, so the engine's not getting excess fuel for no reason. Perfect.
Okay, so belts, we did the flaps are up. The frost is off.
Right,
the avionics are on. Transponder is on standby. Status.
So now this is where we want to get our AWOS. So the frequency for the AWOS here is 135.225. That's the looping weather broadcast. And we have it here in COM2. So if we want to listen to COM2, we come up to the audio panel here, and you'll see you can either select a button for the headphones or a button for the speaker. And we want to listen to COM2 in the headphones, so you hit that button right there.
Okay.
And you'll hear it come.
2, 4, Zulu. Wind missing.
The winds aren't working, but it'll give us an altimeter setting.
10.
And you can turn up the volume right here if you want to.
Below 12,000. Temperature 8 Celsius. Dew point 8 Celsius. Altimeter 2.995 inches of mercury.
995. So you twist that little knob right there. So right now we're at 3000. There, perfect. That's 2995 right there.
That's right on 300.
300. We're 280 feet here. So legally we need to be, and then to turn it off, you just deselect the button. Legally, you need to be within 75 feet of field elevation.
Okay.
So
we're 15.
We're about 15 to 20. We're golden.
Okay. Okay. So the altimeter's set. The radio test.
So now the radio that we're actually transmitting and listening on. This right here selects which one you're constantly listening to, and then when you hit this button, you're transmitting on. So right now we use COM1 for communications. Okay. If I switch it to COM2, you can see now we start listening to this, and we technically would be talking to AWOS. So COM1 here, that's the one we want to test and make sure that we can hear everything. So there's the test button, no static. You should be able to hear the static right there.
That's the squelch.
And that helps, squelch, and that helps you adjust how loud it is. If nobody else were talking, obviously
sure.
If someone's talking, you know what.
So if something happened and I needed to go to 121.5 is the emergency, right?
Yep.
Is that just scrolling that to get that?
Yeah, both of these right here. So you got that little tick mark next to 119. You see that little tick mark? And you move it between these two. So this is for N is for nav, C is for comm. This is a navigation radio on the bottom. Okay. It's a navcom combo.
Okay.
So when you want to change the frequency here, this moves the big numbers, this moves the little numbers.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to go to 121.
Then I go down here and I move the big numbers and the little numbers.
Correct.
Okay.
So just make sure it's on whichever one you need it on.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah. So if you want to do 121.5, you just go boom.
Traffic
like that. Flip them so it's in the active frequency now. And then now you'd be transmitting on that.
Taking runway 30.
Okay. That makes sense?
Yep.
Cool.
So landing lights, doing land lights, brake test.
No, you just let it roll a couple feet and then hit the brakes. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so the attitude indicator test.
So this is the one, what it's trying to tell you to do is actually when you start taxiing, watch these three gyroscopic instruments and make sure they're working correctly, but I like to remember it as to check the whole six-pack. So you're going to check your airspeed indicator first, make sure your airspeed's at 0, attitude indicator, wings are level, and it's within 5 degrees of bank. And altimeter is set within 75 feet of field elevation, Turn coordinator is wings level, ball is centered, no cracks, leaks, or bubbles, because it's filled with kerosene, you don't want it leaking out, otherwise it wouldn't work. And then no flags up here, this would be all white if it wasn't working.
Okay.
And you'll probably always see a little bit of white, but... and then now we want to set our heading indicator to the compass. So, looks like we're in between west is 270, and then there's 300, so about 291 degrees, something like that. Come down here, pretty close. I mean, you could maybe move it like that far. I mean, you're pretty much dead on. And then your vertical speed indicator, 50 foot per minute descent is our 0 indication. So that when we're flying, that's actually level right there.
Okay.
And that's it. So now we're good to taxi, but while we're taxiing, we can't actually check that. So we'll actually make sure that this does not move. This should freely spin, and so should the turn coordinator.
Okay.
Currently 1,100, climbing to pattern altitude, Chandler. And 167, we have you in sight. We're at 1,800.
Okay, so ready to taxi down?
We are ready to taxi. Just go ahead and hit this right-hand turn here.
Grateful Papa has now departed the airspace. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, guys. Same to you.
I can pull power way back. We really only should need about 1,200 RPMs to taxi. Just try and keep it right on the line as best you can. And then we'll hang this left-hand turn here. And it just takes a little bit, so you can pull power back and just try and keep the airplane rolling so you're not using the brakes.
Downwind runway 30, number 2, Chandler traffic. Yeah, Chandler traffic, 167 is turning left base, runway 30, Chandler traffic.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go over the run-up. I've got the brakes on.
Yep.
Fuel selector is still set to on. The trim is up.
Trim is right
Trim's
there.
right.
Yep, set for takeoff, so you got the TO for takeoff.
Yep. Light controls, aileron left, right.
And actually for this you want to box it out. So you go left and then we'll pull back, actually look back at the elevator outside. Now we roll the controls over to the right. This one comes up, that one's down. We go forward, elevator comes down, and now we're kicking the rudder back and forth. Seeing it waggle back there.
And did you see it?
Yeah, can you see it if you really lean out there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can that.
Generally you can only see one side of it though.
Yeah.
You can't see it going on the opposite, I can't see your side of it.
Okay, so the flight controls are good.
Traffic, Tomahawk 90 Golf.
Instruments, same thing that we did over there.
Yeah, so the instruments, everything's
So
still
0 within 5, set within 75 feet. Wings level, ball center, no cracks, leaks, or bubbles, no flags. And then check this again. Looks like 045.
And this is at
That's about 052.
4 or 5, yeah.
So just a little bit back off to the left needs to go.
So that one's 4, 5.
That's 045, yeah. So
That's about 4 or 5 right there.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, and
VSI is 50 feet per minute low is our 0 indication.
okay.
And that's it.
So the mixture we're going to put at best power.
Which is full rich for this, yep.
Okay, and we're going to go up to 1,800 RPMs.
Correct.
Chandler traffic,
Okay, so we're at 1,800. So I'm going to go ahead and do the mags test now.
Yep, so we'll do 2 clicks to the left first. Good, got a good drop. 2 clicks back to the right.
Okay, it's back on both.
All right, now 1 click to the left. Good drop. Back to both. Now, have I shown you what it would look like if it were a bad mag check?
No.
Okay.
So if we did that, then it would drop more than one. It would
drop more, and the engine would be running really rough. So I'm just going to kind of set it up. This will kind of
simulate.
It'll mimic it, yeah. So right now it kind of looks like, the engine's already running rough.
Okay.
But it'll help you give you an idea. If you turn it right now.
So 1 or 2?
Just 1. You see it's running a lot rough.
Oh, yeah.
You can feel it running rough. That's about what, that would be a bad mag check.
Okay, so the carb heat test.
So you just pull it, actuate it all the way back, make sure we get a drop in RPM. Now we know it's working, we go back full.
Boy, it doesn't move much.
Nope, not much.
So the vacuum, the instrument air, that's it right there, right?
Yep, between 4.3 and 5.9.
Amps and volta is positive.
Yep.
Oil pressure is good. Still just at the low end of the green. The oil temperature is good. It's in the green. The idle check closed.
So we come all the way back and make sure that the engine keeps running.
Okay.
And then go back to like 1100 RPM or whatever. Just in a normal idle.
Okay, looks like that's set. So good to go.
All right, yep.
Okay, so flaps are 0, the mixture's best on, the fuel pump I'm going to turn back on, the carburetor heat is off, the pitot heat,
that would be if we were flying through like IMC, if we were taking off IFR and we're going to go fly through clouds and it's pretty cold out, then we would turn it on just to make sure the pitot doesn't get iced up because you don't want to lose your airspeed indicator in IMC, that's no fun.
So the heading indicator and compass are set, the doors, windows,
I'll get mine right before takeoff just so we get some airflow.
Landing light, we're doing strobes, and then we're ready.
Cool.
Okay. So,
not quite. Hang on, we skipped something. Where are we at here? Skip the one right above it.
transponder?
Yep, we want that over on altitude.
Which?
So ALT, so yeah, you rotate off to the right, there you go, just like that. And now you can see it says ALT, and it tells you the altitude. So this is what air traffic control is actually seen on the screen.
At 200? 200
feet, so that'd be tens of thousands, thousands, and hundreds.
Okay.
And besides that, we look good.
Okay.
Alright, so just as we're taxiing up there, make sure we check base and final, because people will come in and not make a radio call.
Okay.
So just looking around.
No traffic on our right either.
Cool. Yep, no, he's trying to taxi. Yeah, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get up there, and we'll start heading on out.
You see anybody back there?
Nope, everything looks good to me. I'm just looking around, making sure. Alright, make the radio call. Traffic skipper 4 into the Golf, taking off 30 left, crosswind departure to the west, Chandler. Alright, doors locked. Get nice and lined up right on center line, come to a complete stop.
Okay, looks like we're all set.
Beautiful, throttle about 2,000 RPMs, does not have to be perfect while you're holding the brakes. Check the engine gauges real quick, everything is in the green. Heels go to the floor, full power. And you're going to need that right rudder, just to keep it center, and try and keep one hand rested up there at all times, protect the throttle. Cool, just enough rudder to keep it on center line, whatever it takes, just keep it right on there. Looking good, excellent. Looking at the airspeed, it's alive, and then once we get to 60 knots, start a nice gentle pullback on the controls.
It's already starting to come up.
There it is, and now I start pulling back.
Okay.
Beautiful. Pull back a little bit more, there we go. Nice job.
Wow, it is so...
Yeah, just easy on the controls. You're kind of over controlling it just a little bit. It'll want to fly straight, but you just need a little tiny bit of rudder just to keep that thing centered.
Sure.
That's all it takes. Perfect. And you got the 75 knots. We're looking good.
Okay, let me... Okay, that's better.
Good. Yeah. So whatever you're having to fight the controls with, just trim it down.
Okay.
All right, now, the key to VFR flying, look outside. It's so much easier to fly by looking outside, and you can kind of tell if the nose is trending up or down, or if we're banking.
Yeah.
If you're in here looking at this stuff all the time, it makes it so difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically IFR flying. There's a reason it's the second or third rating you get. Looking good. So yeah, just kind of pick a point. We keep going out there. Your pitch attitude is perfect. You have 75 knots absolutely pegged. So just kind of keep it looking like this. We're gold. All right. Then once we get to...
remind me if I'm pitching up, I want to pull the trim up.
Well, okay. Think of it like this.
No, I think I got it. I just saw what it was doing. It's just whatever.
Now you want to fly the airplane with the yoke first, though, and so if you want an airspeed locked in, lock it in with the yoke first, and kind of get it stabilized there, and then you can kind of like let go of the controls and see what the airplane wants to do. And then if the nose is wanting to come up on you, then you need to do nose down trim. So think of it this way: this wheel right here, if this hand's the nose of the airplane, this is the trim wheel. If we trim it forward, it makes the nose want to go down. If we trim it back, it makes the nose want to come up. If that makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and turn our crosswind, just follow the section lines out, and turn off the fuel pump.
Okay. So...
I'll turn a left crosswind to runway 30, departing the area to the west, Chandler. Let's go ahead and maintain a heading. Try and keep me right on a heading of 260. So straight west,
26.
yeah, straight west is 27, so that one right there, perfect. Now that you're on there, you got that heading, pick a point that we're already pointed at and just, go straight for it, and that'll keep you right on the heading. And you can kind of every once in a while come in and make sure that you're still on it.
Good day. Is that Fresno approach or NorCal approach? Bonanza 4305 uniform.
05 uniform, it's still Fresno approach, 132.35, good day.
13235, Bonanza 4305 uniform.
Looking good. It's already starting to smooth out a little bit.
Yeah, it is. But I just, I don't know why it makes me so nervous.
The bumps?
Yeah.
I think it's after you get more comfortable behind the controls and kind of, the bumps won't bug you so much.
Sure.
5284 Papa, have a great weekend. Thank you.
You know, kind of when you first start flying, you're focused on just keeping the wings level even when it's smooth out. So the bumps are just like adding all this, unnecessary stuff to it. But that's why, typically if it was too bumpy, I don't think I'd even go flying with the, somebody that's in their first 5 lessons, something like that.
Sure.
But once we get up to 3,000, it's nice and smooth. All right. So from an aerodynamic standpoint, you want to start thinking of, at what we're at high power right now and relatively high airspeed. So we're at a somewhat of a low angle of attack. Even though we're climbing at full power, we're actually at a relatively low angle of attack compared to like slow flight. If we were in slow flight, we'd be pitched way up.
Yeah.
Now, and you can tell just by kind of looking out at the wing, we're at, there is a high angle of attack, but once we cruise, you'll see that wing really level on out.
We're at 3,000. You want to?
Yeah. So for the level out, we'll go ahead and kind of just push those forward in the full power configuration and everything, and let the airplane accelerate. Once you hit 80 knots, you can pull the power back. Get that out of there. Pull the power back to 2,400. So there it is. There's your 80. Just kind of pull it back and just hold that 80 knots, and then you'll trim it out. There you go. Yeah. Get that power coming on out. Now just kind of trim it on out so you don't have to fight it for whatever it's wanting to do right now.
Yeah, I mean,
coming up just a little bit on you. And eventually that little bit turns into a lot because the airplane will start oscillating like this, and the oscillations get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Sure.
Cool. Looking good. Okay. So what I was wanting to show you about that, if you're looking out the wing, we're at a relatively low angle of attack.
Sure.
So with my controls real fast, I want you to just...
What are you going to... Tell me what you're going to do first.
I'm going to pull power back, and we're going to be looking out, and I'm going to show you the increase in angle of attack, and also the when we're trying to slow down and we're holding altitude. So you're going to see the angle of attack increase, but the airplane's going to sit there and hold altitude. So, all right, so by control, so go ahead and just look out the wing. I want you to just kind of see it. See the airplane just slow down. We're holding altitude this whole time. I'm just pitching back just to hold altitude. You can see that coming up.
Yep.
And it's just increasing and increasing. This is what flying is about. It's about managing. And you can feel the buffet starting to get there, so we're starting to get kind of slow. Okay. Get the power back. We're getting close to slow flight here.
Yeah.
So, and then you'll see, as I get the power in, I start accelerating. I'm descending a little bit, so I kind of want to keep it up a little bit. Keep that nose up here just to hold altitude, and we'll slowly start reducing that angle of attack as our airspeed climbs out.
Okay.
And there you can see the angle of attack. That's what flying is. You're constantly managing the angle of attack of the wings. So, but now we'll kind of get it all back on this setting here.
You're turning?
Yeah. Oh, I'm flying the airplane. Yeah, my airplane. All right. Back at the 80 knots, 24. Get it trimmed out. Looks good. Okay, now it's your airplane, your controls. So I just want to kind of, visualize that for you.
Sure.
So you can see any time that I say, let's slow down, but I want you to hold altitude, you're going to have to be pulling back on the controls to increase that angle of attack. Very slowly, just enough to keep that at 0 or keep your altimeter from moving.
Okay.
So like when we do stalls and stuff like that, we're going to be periodically slowing down, and you're going to have to do that and hold altitude. All right, so that said, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you an imminent stall. I'm not going to do a full stall, but I'm going to get the airplane right at the point where the little buffet happens, something like that, and then we're just going to recover, okay?
Your plane?
Yep, my airplane. So my controls, and now all it's going to be super simple for power off stall. We pretend that we're in the landing configuration, okay?
Yep.
So the landing checklist is going to be fuel pump comes on, power comes back to 1800 RPMs.
Good afternoon.
And then normally we would do flaps 10 right here, but we're going to go full flaps.
And why are you doing that?
Just to get it, speed it along, so we're not kind of wasting time. Now we're kind of holding altitude, slowing down to 65 knots. And we trim the airplane out, now we start descending at 65. So we're just pretending we're coming in on final, basically.
Sure. You're not...
What's that?
I'm just a little nervous.
Oh no, I'm not going to stall it, I promise you. Will not stall the airplane. Just going to kind of just show you what it is. Alright, so now this is the setup for power off stall. We're descending, coming down. So let's say at 2,600 feet, I'm going to flare the airplane effectively.
Okay.
Pretend that we flared too high, and that would be where the stall occurs. But we're doing an imminent stall. We're not actually stalling it.
Okay.
So we'll get coming down here. Here comes 26. So we full power to idle. We just pitch back, and we're keeping that ball centered. Airplane's slowing down, and we just kind of hold it here.
That's it.
You see that buffet?
I can
there
feel
it is. Full power. Flaps come up to 20. Immediately, flaps come up to 20. Now we're just looking for 70 knots.
Okay. And then
We're just kind of holding level flight attitude to kind of keep that. So there's 70. Flaps come up to 10. Now we're just looking for a positive rate of climb while holding that 70 knots. There's positive rate. Flaps come up. Now we climb out right at 70. So that's a proper recovery procedure right there. You can see it's kind of like a go around. It's the same thing as a go around.
Okay.
So see, no big deal, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So your controls.
Okay. So
would you like to try one of those? The imminent stall?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. All right. We'll skip that for now. But we will. Let's see.
I'm gonna get back on the
260. Sure. Or actually, give me a. Yeah, give me a 180-degree turn. Okay, let's go back to. Let's do 070. Just kind of keep it coming to the right.
070.
Yeah, right turn all the way, and then we'll level it off at 3,000.
So
just kind of
70 degrees. Is that what you're saying for zero?
Yeah, 070. Yeah.
That's 70 right there.
Yeah, 070 is what that is. So north is 000.
I want to do 70. So where's 70 at here?
70 is right here. So east is 090.
Okay, and what did you want to do?
070.
Oh, so we're going to go all the way around back to here.
Correct. Yeah, we're going back towards Fresno. Yep. All right.
I want that up here. I was looking down here.
Your controls. See, no big deal. No sweat, man. All right. So that was so you saw the two types of stalls that we do. Those are the only
power
two.
On and
power on and power off. Yep, that's it.
Fresno altimeter 2995.
Okay, so let's see. So next, let's do some maneuvering during slow flight is what we're supposed to introduce. Do you feel comfortable trying it?
Yeah, we're just going to do like shallow turns.
Very shallow turns, but we're going to be right at the brink of a stall. We're going to be real slow. But we're not stalling, or we just keep it flying extremely slow.
Okay.
And I'll be on the controls and everything, and I'll kind of talk you through it. So it's no big deal. All right, so first thing we do before landing checklist, fuel pump comes on. Now, we want to hold altitude while we're doing this. Power comes back to 1,500. Look at it all the way back. Kind of a quick little drop of RPM here. And you're going to have to start pulling back to increase that angle of attack. Excellent.
Sure.
So get that power back, hit it coming back. Now, full flaps come in. So that's about good right there. We're just trying to slow it down. So that's fine. Get the flaps coming all the way in. Excellent. You can just leave it like that. Now hand back on the throttle. Yeah, you can just leave it like that.
Okay.
It automatically goes on. Off. So hand back on the throttle. Now let's start. You can see we're descending. So we've got to pitch up a little bit more.
Okay.
All right. So now we're getting right to the point of 50 knots or so. Now start increasing power about 2,200 RPMs.
904.
A little bit more. There we go. Now we're just pitching up, and we want to keep that airplane right, or that white needle right on that 50 knot mark. All right, so now you see how I'm having to pull back for you. So you got to kind of pull back on the controls. Keep that nose up here, okay?
Okay.
So let it. There you go. Nice. Now we're in a spot called the reverse.
Now listen, it's starting to drop too slow.
So no, it's not going to get too slow. We're good. If it gets too slow, the nose will start sinking. So now we're in the reverse region of command. Okay. This is where you start controlling the airplane by pitch for airspeed. So if you need to go faster, you let the nose come down just a little bit. If you want to, if we're descending or something like that, you control your power, your altitude with your power. So if you're descending, you increase power. If you're descend,
okay.
See what I'm saying? So right now, like we're a tiny bit on the fast side, you would just pitch up just a touch.
Okay.
You can see it got rid of it already.
Okay. Yeah.
So just little control movements like that is all we're doing. Now, that said, we don't want to focus on everything in here. We want to kind of get everything set and then look back outside and see what the nose is doing and just keep it doing that.
Okay.
Good. All right, so in slow flight, let's just do a shallow, like 10-degree bank turn off to the left, just because we're getting kind of close to their airspace, so it's kind of start heading out that way. We'll do a heading of 330, just like this. This is perfect. And really when you're moving, try and keep, fly one hand there. Just in case, since we're flying so close to a stall, if we did stall, you want to do a recovery, so boom, full power and start, going again. But you got this nailed. Okay, cool, a little level right there, excellent. Alright. So now you can see our airspeed's getting a little bit on the quick side, so pitch it up just a little bit.
Skyhawk 198, contact north.
And then once we kind of get it back there, you'll probably have to lower just a touch. You got it pretty much nailed. You're doing a great job.
Okay, so
that's about slow flight.
Okay.
When you're maneuvering around and we'll eventually get you to the point where you're doing climbs and descents and all this stuff and all these turns in slow flight. Okay. But for now, it's just kind of like, I'll have you turn a little bit here and there, kind of get the feel for it. If you're really having to fight control pressure, don't be afraid to trim it out either.
Oh, even at slow flight.
Oh yeah, even at slow flight, at all times, whatever you're having to fight. So you're doing nose down trim right now. There you go.
If it's okay, it's wanting to go down.
Right, so you want to do nose up trim, yep.
Okay, that's right there, yeah.
Good. Now that makes your life a lot easier, huh? Not having to yank back on it the whole time.
Yeah.
Looking good. And then just always want to keep that ball nice and centered, so a little tiny bit of extra right rudder. And the airplane's going to bank on you when you do that, so you just have to do a little bit more to the left, and you see it centering it up now.
Yeah. 29 under 4, good afternoon.
So now we're just cruising, looking around. We're only doing, we're doing 57 knots over the ground right now, pretty slow. I mean, if you look out at the ground, you can see how slow it's going by.
Yeah.
All right. In slow flight, give me a left turn heading 240. No more. Anytime we're in slow flight, you want to do no more than 20 degrees of bank. That's just a good rule of thumb, because you start getting steeper than that in the airplane, you're increasing the load factor, so you get a little too close to a stall.
What's the degrees?
So each tick mark there?
Nope. What do you want me to go to? What heading?
Oh, 240.
Okay. So, what's the purpose of flying at low airspeed?
Well, just to really develop a feel of the airplane at all various airspeeds, and to show that you can have positive aircraft control at minimum controllable airspeed. Sure. So there's 240, roll it level. Because we're at a point right now where if we maintain this pitch attitude right here, but we pulled that power to idle within 3 seconds, the airplane would just, boom, stall. Nose would drop down. And that's the whole purpose of this maneuver, is to show that, okay, well, I'm right there. I'm right out of stall, but I'm still flying this thing. I can still keep it in the air. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Because we know that once the airplane's going 100 knots, you can fly it around, because it just, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It wants to say. So, all right, and then for a slow flight recovery, all you want to do is just like I did for the stall, it's going to, very first thing is going to be full power, then flaps are going to go up to 20, and then we're going to kind of maintain a level flight attitude. Once we get to 70, flaps go to 10. Once you get a positive rate of climb, flaps will go up all the way. Okay? So I'll talk you through it again, but just try and kind of keep that in your head. All right, so right on this heading, we'll stay on 220, that's fine.
Okay.
Now just first thing, full power. And kind of let that nose kind of settle down a little bit, flaps 20. There you go. There's 20. Oh, that's all right. Now just kind of get the nose coming down, let it accelerate. I got to let it come down a little bit more. There we go. Just like this. Now we'll start accelerating. Now we're just kind of looking for that 70 knots. See how the nose is trending back up.
Yeah.
Now the reason why it's doing that is because we had to trim that. Yep, we had to trim for slow flight. So start, you want to fly the yoke, you fly the airplane with the yoke first. So really push it if you need to, but you trim out the pressure so you don't have to fight it as much.
Sure. Okay, so we're at 70.
There we go, 70. So at positive rate. So now flaps come out. Beautiful. And now just trim it out. Everything else is normal. Now we're just flying again like any other time.
Okay.
Looking good. What do you think of that? No big deal, huh?
Yeah.
No sweat. All right, so now we can do, want to try some hood work? That's what's on this lesson.
Sure.
Try hood work? All right.
Will that go straight over these, or?
They should. You can try here, my controls. Go ahead and kind of see, I got the controls. See if it works or not. check, check.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of surprising that it just
fits right over it.
Yeah.
Something just happened to the check, check, check.
I can hear you.
Yeah, but the sound of it kind of changed. Check. Oh, maybe that got bumped is all. Okay, so let me kind of get it trimmed out for you here.
Okay.
Help you out, make it a little easier. Now, the way that I like to teach to do, you have to develop a scan.
Yeah.
Okay? And the scan I like is called the performance method. It's where you base everything off of your attitude indicator. Okay, so just like you're looking out in front of the airplane.
Sure.
So this is your main instrument. You come in here, you look at this, and you branch off. And you go off like this, but you always come back to the attitude indicator,
okay.
and you just make a scan like that.
Okay.
And flying under the hood, flying IFR is tedious work. You're constantly doing that. The whole time you're flying, you're going back and forth like this. The reason why, anytime you fixate on one instrument, something else is going wrong with the other ones. You know, that's basically how it works. It's a handful. So don't expect this to go perfectly, because that's just kind of how it goes. It takes some practice for sure. So. But I want you to try and maintain. I'll get it nice and trimmed for 80 knots for you. Let's just make it a little easier. There we go.
And you're standing outside to see if anybody's...
Yep, that's what they pay me the big bucks. So, all right, so your controls, keep me at 80 knots, 3,600 feet. Let's just stay there, 3,600 feet. Now, when we make our turns, I want turns only standard rate. So no more than standard rate, which means that little white line right there, these wings will be pointed at it. No more than that.
So when you say standard rate, you mean these will come down, right?
Right, so if you go ahead and bank the airplane to the left, and you see that wing turning?
Yep.
So you just want to get it just to the point right there. We're in a really, if you look up here, we're in a real shallow turn,
I see that.
So it just keeps everything nice and stable. If you go steeper than that, then you start having to pull back on the controls and do, all kinds of junk. So when you're under the hood, you want to keep everything real simple, real easy for you. So, all right, so continue that left-hand turn at 3,600 feet, and give me a turn all the way back to a heading of north.
Okay.
And just remember, always keep that scan going, always moving it and making your little adjustments. If we're a little slow or a little fast, if we're a little slow, probably push the controls forward a little bit, depending on what the altimeter is doing. It's just constantly making little corrections. Beautiful, looking very good. And probably the hardest part of flying under the hood is fighting the G-forces. Like you're feeling, it's telling your body one thing. You may feel like you're in a right-hand turn right now, but this instrument says you're in a left-hand turn. You believe that instrument, you know?
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing to get over.
A little bit more.
Yep, just a little bit. Very nice.
Okay, and look at that. Still at 36.
You're nailing it. Looking good. So, and you can see here, you just level that out, and the wings will stay nice and level. We'll keep going straight. And actually, this is telling the turn coordinator. The turn coordinator is telling you your rate of turn. So it tells you how fast you're changing direction. Yeah. A standard rate turn is 3 degrees per second. So 360 degrees will take 2 minutes, or 120 seconds.
Okay, I'm back on north.
Beautiful. So if these are level, that means that you're not changing direction at all. So that's a good one to go off of in instrument flight when you're trying to stay level. If those are straight, you're cold. So looking good. We're just cruising around.
Okay.
Now you feel pretty trimmed out at 70?
Oh, it's coming down a little bit.
Okay.
That's good. That's good right there.
Good.
Says I'm moving a little bit to the left.
Yep, we are looking good.
Get back to the north. Okay, right there.
Alright, so now we're going to go ahead. You got the turns down, I can tell that's not going to be an issue. Let's go ahead and introduce descents, though. So I want you to descend at 70 knots. Now, if the airplane's trimmed out for 70, let's see, if you let go right now, what does it want to do? Because we're slowing down.
It's going to drop.
See, so you're kind of pulling back a little bit on the controls and slowing the airplane down. And it's just that, it happens. You rest your hands, that's all it takes. These airplanes are sensitive. But, so if we want to descend at 70 knots, all we have to do is pull power out. This airplane's going to want to chase 70 knots. So on a heading of due north, just like you are, pull some power back to, let's call it 2,000 RPM, maybe 1900, let's call it 1950, we'll split the difference. And we're going to let the airplane just kind of chase that airspeed again, and it'll start descending us. So we'll descend down to 3,300, or actually let's go all the way back down to 3,000.
So it's at 70 knots now.
Yeah, and it'll chase it because you have it trimmed for 70 knots.
Yeah.
Right. So if you pull power out, it's going to trade altitude for airspeed to keep you at 70 knots. If you push power in, it'll try and climb at 70 knots. So
Okay.
does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So now everything else is the same, just like you were in straight and level flight, except for now we're descending. This is the only thing changing on you.
Yeah.
And you got it nailed, a nice stable descent.
You said 3,300?
Let's go down to 3,000, then I'm going to have you actually climb back up. So we'll go down to 3,000. I feel like you got a pretty good hold on this?
Yeah.
The scan and everything's going well? Good.
I probably don't look outside enough when I don't have this on.
Right. And this, this is almost counterproductive in a little bit, because I'm trying at this point early in flying, I'm trying to get you to look outside a lot. But we do have to build up your instrument time, so kind of got to do a little bit of it. But basically when the hood isn't on, I mean these are secondary. Primary is the sky and the ground, looking outside.
Boy, I came off course a little bit.
No, just a little bit, not bad.
Do you want me to turn back to north, or?
Sure, yeah, turn a little bit back. But you're not far off at all, you're doing just fine.
Okay, and we are...
Yep, we're approaching it now. All we got to do is put that power back to like 2,200, 2,250-ish, and that'll level the airplane off right at 3,000 feet, and it'll hold 70 knots. Just like that, the airplane should just kind of start pulling out of the dive any second. There it comes. You can see the VSI starting to come back up. Golden.
Yeah.
So as far as power settings relate to airspeeds, in the skipper, this is specific only to this airplane. 2,200 RPMs will hold you level at 70 knots. 2,300 RPMs will hold you level at 75 knots. 2,400 will hold you level at 80 knots. So if you're ever wanting to fly that, you just kind of know where to go with the power.
22, 23, and 24.
Yep, 70, 75, 80.
Okay.
Cool. Looking good. All right. At 70 knots, go ahead and climb me back up to 3,500 feet. Nice job. All right, my controls. Go ahead and take off your foggles. Nice job. We can see, here's Madeira right here. Here's the town of Madeira. The airport's right there. You can see the runway kind of going like that.
Yep.
There's the wine. What is that? Gallo Winery or something like that?
Yep.
Really, at this point, we can go shoot some landings if you want to go try that?
Yep.
All right, cool. Sounds good. We're going to have to start descending here, so that's what I was saying. The next lesson, we're going to have to do an introduce emergency descent. So we might as well just try one here if you're good with that.
Okay, and tell me.
So what it is we're going to go power to idle. We're going to roll into a 30-degree bank. This is simulating, like, for some reason we need to get on the ground right now.
Okay.
So you'd go power to idle, roll into a 30-degree bank, and then you'd push the nose forward to accelerate to 100 knots. So we're coming down kind of like this. So we're, kind of spiraling towards the ground, and we'll be losing like 2,000 feet a minute. I mean, it gets you down in a hurry, yeah. So we'll only do that for like 1,000 feet, just real quick, because otherwise you start, like, your sinuses have trouble decompressing and stuff. So you really only want to do it unless, we have 1,000 feet for practice, and then, like, in a real situation, okay, we need to get on the ground anyway, so forget our sinuses. Yeah, whatever it takes. So we'll just do one just because we need to get below this shelf at the Charlie that's coming up. So real simple, just go ahead and go power all the way back to idle. Kill it all the way, roll it into a 30-degree bank, just let the nose come down. A little bit further, you see all the way to 30, right about, a little bit more, right in there, perfect. And you can see our airspeed's building. Okay. This is perfect. So just keep it kind of banked just like this. Excellent. This is an absolutely perfect one. Nice job. Just kind of keep it right at 100 knots, and if it nose starts coming up on you, just kind of push it forward a little bit.
Okay, that's almost
Now here comes 1,000 feet right here, 2,500 feet. So at that point, you can go ahead and just like rock your wings level, and then just kind of pull out of the dive nice and gently.
Okay, let's get level.
Yeah, and then just kind of come out of it. Excellent. That was perfect. All right, so I already have Chandler plugged into the GPS, and it's telling me that we're 10 miles out right now.
Okay.
So 10 miles out is generally when you want to make your first call. So we're about 10 miles off. Chandler's right over there, so we're kind of to the northwest of them, and we're at 2,300. So
what do you want me? What altitude do you want me by the time we get to Kearney?
1,500 feet. So kind of just shallow descent. It's not going to take us very long to get there. So just a shallow descent's fine. You can gauge it on your own. It's not going to be an issue, and it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no perfect science to that, really. Well, there is calculations you can do, but I'll teach you that. Yeah. All right, so we're 9 miles out, so I'm going to make my first call. It's who they are, who we are, where we are, and what we want to do. That's the formulation for a call.
So go ahead and do it.
Okay. Traffic, Super 41 Lima Golf, 9 miles to the northwest, descending through 2,100, maneuvering for a left 45 entry, runway 30, Chandler.
So I want to stay at 1,300. I want to be at 1,300 when I get to
the 3 mile part. Yep.
When I get to the what?
3 miles out is generally when you want to be at 1,300.
Okay.
Or TPA is 3 miles away from the airport. You want to be at traffic pattern altitude.
Okay.
So we're golden right now. You're looking perfect. But once we get there, that's an altitude that you really want to hold. You don't want to get below. Good. All right. Now we're just looking at the runway. I'd say just a tiny bit further. Let's go ahead and go right about there.
Okay.
It's going to be kind of a tight base, but we're good. All right, so we'll roll into our left base, and then we're going to fly nice and perpendicular to the runway, too. Traffic falling in the Golf. Turn left base, runway 30, Chandler. So you see how our nose is kind of up right now?
Yeah.
Just see how it wants to come down. That's why we trim the airplane out for 70, so it just stays at 70 the whole time.
Okay.
And you really, really don't have to do much on the controls other than just kind of, turn the controls left or right to roll it into the turns.
Hollister traffic, 9750 Delta Victor, be
All right, so now we're on base. Uh-oh, that's what happened. Our flaps went all the way up. So just take them to 20.
Okay.
There we go. There's a 20. Perfect. There you go. Now we're good. Now you can see the airplane's going to want to start coming down a little steeper.
70.
That's what, it wants to come down a little steeper since we put the flaps in, though.
Okay.
All right, looking real good.
Go ahead and turn now.
Yep, you can start your turn. And you just got to kind of gauge it, and it just takes doing it a few times to kind of figure out when you're right on. So just keep that nose coming down. Just keep looking at the runway, though. So we overshot it a little bit. Keep that turn coming. All right, now we've got to keep it coming so we get lined back up and get back on it. There we go. Perfect. Roll back in.
Okay.
A little bit more. There we go. All right, get that full flaps in. Now, basically at this point, you just keep one hand on the throttle, definitely. Pull a little touch of power out. There you go. Now point that nose for those numbers. A little bit more power. We're a little on the high side. I'm sorry. Power out.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I apologize. I meant to say power out.
Okay.
All right, we're looking real good. All right, now keep one hand on the throttle, just in case, because we might have to go around at some point. There you go. Power comes all the way to idle. Keep it coming down. Keep it coming down. There we go. Now flare. There we go. Stay on the right rudder. Keep it. There you go. All right, we'll start kind of gently tapping on the brakes, slowing her down.
Okay.